which camera to look into. Is it this one? I think it's that one. Yeah, I haven't been out for a walk since my last video, which was about 3 months ago. So that would be April, May, maybe. I think I filmed that video at the end of March or thereabouts. So we were still in the sort of winter months, I guess, or the tail end of the winter months. There's a reason why I haven't been back out, and I don't want to get all sad and philosophical about everything. I don't know why I have to keep doing that. It's just the way my mind works, I suppose. I think if you overindulge in that and allow your brain to think too much, which during the winter mine is wont to do, you get into a habit of overthinking things, and you start coming off as being, I don't know, a bit of a drama queen or whatever. But anyway, we're out today. It's my day off. I haven't been out in in the spring or the summer at all. Ever since that video, and I'll explain why I think it is as we go. But let's just enjoy this, because it all feels new to me. All this greenery, and it's beautiful, nice and calm. Let's just keep going, and I'll see if I can elaborate a little bit more as to what's been going on. Can you hear that? Oyster catchers. They're my favourite bird. I remember ever since I was 13 or 14 and coming here and hearing those. Those were real magical times. I mean, you can imagine it yourself, coming from a small town in England, a fairly nondescript town, might I add. I mean, you could call it a dull town, but anyway, it's a town called Wigton in Cumbria, and we're only a few steps away from the Lake District, so I've got nothing to harp on about really. But anyway, coming from there to a Scottish island, I'd never seen anything like it before. We'd been to Scotland before, of course. We'd been to Skye actually, but that's a different beast. We came here, and on this very estate I used to run around as a kid, and I met my best friend here, and he used to take me out on the boat off into the bay there, and I've got these fantastic memories of going out into the bay and just watching the sun and hearing those oyster catchers. Sublime, just like living in another world. I was having a tough time at school, and things weren't good at home, but whenever I came up here, and especially when I came back on my own with, not having my folks there, and meeting my friend, and was going off on adventures and tree climbing and doing ridiculous things that I think I probably should have had a serious injury on quite a few different occasions, to be fair. The things we used to do were mad. We used to take the boat out and just put the motor on full and keep going out into sea. And inevitably, when you get out of the bay, the sea gets choppier, and we were going so fast that my whole body was lifting off the boat. I was in the air. I was terrified. But I used to do that quite a lot. Scared the shit out of me. Very fond memories of this place. This track actually forms a loop. And back in the day, we used to take the Land Rover down here when they did boat trips. So, over the passage of time, this track's narrowed quite a lot. And it would eventually lead to the pier, the small pier where we'd leave on the boat and go out for the day and look for minke whales and dolphins, and then we'd come back about 8 hours later, and come rain or shine, we'd be out in the sea, at the sea. And the amazing thing about that was, what it did was when your feet steps off the pier and onto the boat, and then you started going out for the day with other tourists that, I was there just to help with the boat and what have you, but you'd go out and then you would just completely forget everything. Any problems you had, any intrusive thoughts, childhood stuff that you think about all the time, it just disappeared when you were out on the water. It was like walking onto a different planet. It just had this timeless feel to it. It was like the land around you just stood still while you went out, and you just felt like nothing mattered. All the important stuff just didn't matter. You were in the moment. It was almost like meditating, but without having to concentrate. You were just there, and then the excitement would build. If you did see a minke whale, or dolphins, or porpoise, or anything really, it's just a magic time. I'll show you this bay. This is on a different side here. But this is Quinish Estate as well. Over those fields there is where Farm Square is, and we used to go to. This estate used to have lots of different holiday lets back in the day. We're talking late 80s, early 90s. There were 5 or 6 different holiday cottages scattered all along this estate, and we used to stay in them as a family, and we tried different ones. There was like the Coachman's Cottage was one of the places, which was fantastic. But one of the really cool ones was a place called Shaw Cottage, and it was way up on the point, and it didn't have any electricity or no TV, nothing really, and it was right on the point there, and you were right on the water, so you didn't have any phones or laptops or anything, and you used to get lost for days. It was fantastic. Just such a special place. And you can't actually see it from here because it's covered in trees now. I'm amazed how covered it is, but just in there is Cuckoo House. And Cuckoo House was this like wooden, well, it still is, but it's this wooden sort of chalet And we used to stay there quite a lot actually, quite a few summers we used to go in there. And that was just stunning, but it's kind of gone to the dogs. The current owners have left it to ruin, really. Unless something's done about it, or rapid, I think it'll go to waste, which is a real shame, because tons of memories there. Not just for me, but the building, you know. It's beautifully located. My brother and sisters will certainly concur with my thoughts of this place. It's magic. It's absolutely magical. There's no other way of putting it. There's no, you know, there's a reason why they call it Magical Mull. It is magical. And that's why everybody comes back eventually. So the guests, we all used to walk down here in the morning, rain or shine, to this pier here. And the boat used to leave from here. It was called the Kittiwake, the boat. So we used to leave from here. But can you hear anything apart from the wind? If you see here, even the old diesel fuel pipes are here. There was a big fuel tank up on that little ledge there. If you follow me, I'll show you a little, well, it's not a secret, but it's something special. I'll show you. So why haven't I been out since that last video? The reason why, I think, is because doing that video about my dog, prior to me doing that video, I was in a really strange and pretty awful place. I was confused and didn't know how to process, I guess, my grief or my emotions about feeling alone and kind of lost, and going to the point there to talk to my dad and feel him and feel my dog there as well. It felt, once I'd done the video, literally the day after, and I think the day after I edited it and posted it, I felt a lot better in myself. And the better I felt, I think what happened is the more I wanted to distance myself from having to think about any negative thoughts about it's really weird, but even down to like my environment or being outside, or I didn't want to return to, because basically when I was out there, I just opened myself up completely to whatever was there, and it spoke to me, whatever it is. I still don't know what it is, and I felt like I'd found a way to keep a safe distance from that bad place. The only problem is, in keeping my distance from that chapter, if you like, that whole episode and the video and what have you, I distanced myself so much that I didn't want to engage with any kind of outside environment, really. This sounds really strange, but in some way I felt that all of this around me, this place, I feel that my father and Bo, they're in this place, they're here, everywhere, especially up at the point there, but everywhere really. And because I'd created some distance and I felt better about my negative thoughts, I think I've created too much of a distance now. I haven't been out for such a long time, and the summer hasn't been fantastic here, to be fair. This is a rare sort of nice warm breezy day, or evening now, I guess. So in doing that, I've shut myself out from I haven't opened myself up to anything. I guess with the fear that it might open up again. You get to a point where you feel kind of hopeless, and then something happens that makes you feel better. You don't tend to want to sort of revisit that. You've fixed it, and the last thing you want to do is go back and poke it with a stick. And something as simple as going for a walk, I felt, and maybe still feel, that it would open up wounds that I thought that I'd healed, which is really stupid, isn't it? Because you should be able to go out and enjoy the landscape and the feeling and the vibe of it. And now that I've been out today, I do feel a lot better. I wasn't expecting to do a video at all. I don't even know why I picked up the filming kit, but I guess that's what happened when I went out to the point in my last video. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just the right time. And I know this is a really small channel, and I honestly don't think anybody watches it, but I don't really do these videos for views, or it's nice to see that if it does get views, but I do it as a diary, it's it's a video to myself, you know, just to sort of check in, because my sort of emotions and the way I am can vary quite significantly. But in saying that, that's changed a lot, because I quit drinking. I quit drinking in October of last year, because I knew that I was going to be going through a rough time of it, especially during the winter here. And I thought it would be a good idea to maybe have a couple of months off the booze and, you know, try and think of things with a level head, because when I am drinking, the frequency of a kaleidoscope of emotions is a lot closer together. So I'll have maybe a good week, and then, or maybe a good month, say, and then due to my drinking, I'll slide down, and I could be like that for weeks or months. So I decided to stop drinking in the October. Now, I'm 52, and I've been drinking every day pretty much for 32, 33 years, and I haven't had a drink since October the 20th. So what's that? 8 months I haven't had a drink. That's unheard of for me. I think the most I've actually stopped is probably maybe a month or two. And what I thought would be maybe a 4-week break has turned into 8 months, and I'm not planning on starting again, because I've got to tell you, man, the difference has been life-changing, completely life-changing. I didn't really start to feel it properly until after about 6 months. And after about six months, couple of weeks, I started to feel not necessarily healthier in terms of my physical body or anything like that, but mentally, the only way that I can describe it is that it felt like I was slowly coming out of a coma, and I'd just woken up one day. You know? It's like you've been this person for almost 35 years, and you're having to sort of get to know that person all over again. It's like living with someone who you thought you knew your whole life, you know, and they're completely different. And I'm sure there are a lot of sort of channels on YouTube, and, you know, that say that drinking, you know, it's fantastic. Quitting drink is fantastic, and there are all these benefits. But there's almost like a dark night of the soul type phase you go through, where you come to realize how many years you've been sleepwalking, and you come out of it, and there's almost a sort of a feeling of anger because of all the time that you've wasted, and all the relationships that could have, you know, turned a different corner if I hadn't been drinking. What path would I have taken if I hadn't drunk at all throughout my life? I think I'd be in a very different place. So I feel sad for, you know, whenever I was in relationships, I wasn't a bad drunk, you know, I wasn't abusive or anything like that, but I'm under no illusion that it probably wasn't easy for my partner to, you know, see me do that all the time, you know. The last relationship I had, I was that anxious and stressed that I used to go shopping and scurry away a bottle of gin, and then I'd have to go out with the dog on an evening with a bottle of lemonade and disappear for 3 hours and drink to stop the anxiety from being so high. That's not good, is it? So yeah, I think the important thing now is that I've got this far, and I can't tell you how different I feel. You know, I didn't know who I was after I realised that things were completely different. I feel like a completely different person. I don't have episodes now where I'm up and down, and I feel more grounded, more centred, and I'm gaining confidence in myself. It really is it's life-changing. And I won't recommend you try it, or, you know, that's up to yourselves. I don't know why I stopped for so long, or why it worked, or how I did it, because I've tried hundreds of times in the past to do it with varying degrees of success, but always going back to it eventually. And that thirst is gone, you know. Highly recommend it, but it's not an easy path to take, I'll tell you. And you will get to a point where, or a realization that you're this completely different person. But the good plus side to that is that the person that you become is better than what you were before. Anyway, that's my chat. We'll wander back. Anyone is watching, I want to say thank you very much for watching. Sometimes it's nice to share, you know. This is the other side here. It's a little bit wider than the other. This is where the residents of the farm square, they come through here now. That's all been developed into houses and flats. It's just a small farm square. It's a gorgeous place to live, I would imagine. Right in the middle of the estate. But here, this flat area here, this is where I used to take Bo all the time for ball throws and things like that. He used to love this open grass. You sometimes see deer here as well. And speaking of deer, I've acquired a deer. about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, a deer appeared outside my caravan about 10-15 feet away from me, and it's been back every day, every day since. It's nice having an animal. You'll just walk out of the van one day and you'll just see it, and it just looks at me and carries on with its own feeding. But it's normally part of I don't know if you call them herds, or I guess you do. Is it deer herd? She's normally a part of a group of deers, a herd of deers that live on the estate here, but for some reason she's decided to break away from them, and she's doing her own thing. I think with the warmer weather she's drinking water from the freshwater loch behind me as well. But it's such a lovely thing to see. Well, that's me nearly back home. It's 7:45 in the evening, so I'm going to go home and get something to eat. I just wanted to say thank you, and if anyone's watching, hope you're doing good, and I hope life's treating you well. And if you're going through stuff, I'm sorry about that, but we get through it. Eventually we get through it. I'll catch you on the next one.